Hi, this is Talk K Dramas with Bruce and Dallas.
Hey.
Squid Games episode six.
I think we're on 7. This is 7 for sure.
I
Yes.
wrote episode 6 on my notes. Are you sure?
Well, let's see where you begin off, and then we'll see if we have to start this bad boy all over
Oh
again.
no. Are you sure we're not on episode
I
6?
am confident we are on episode 7.
Let me look at my notes from last week. Oh yeah, look, last week I put episode 6 too.
Oh, crazy, right?
Sorry, my fault. Episode 7, VIPs.
Yes.
You have your 3?
Yes, I do. Okay. So guess who makes it to the next round? 212. Sentence number 2. Officer Wong gives the special guests the VIP treatments. And sentence number 3. The odds of the first person surviving the next game is 1 in 65,536. Those are my 3 sentences.
Wait. How did you get the third one? They talked about it?
They actually did it, yeah.
Okay.
If you do it on well, we'll talk about it later. You know what? Just talk about it now. If you do it on just pure guessing, just guess. It's either yes or no, right? It's toggle switch, right? It's either yes or no. And so what that is powers of 2.
Yeah.
And so there's 16 contestants. There's 16 glasses, and so it's 2 to the 16th power. 2 to the 16th power is 65,500.
Did they actually talk about that?
So there was a math guy in there, remember?
Yes.
So if you forget from
The marbles,
it was from the marble game. Yeah, from the marbles, is that he was like, yo, I'm a math teacher.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, and so I was and it was kind of weird, like why he would say that. Like, why would you even say that? And he did, and it was whatever. But now it's because, well, not because, but it helped out because, I'm a math teacher. And then he calculated the odds while he was on there. And he did that. And since he was like the 4th or some contestant, his odds were like 1 in 32,000 something. And so that's what he just kind of like cracked under the, like, he was just like, and then boom, 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 boom. And then he just went through like real quick because he just knew that the odds were so against him.
Okay.
I lost Alice like way early in that explanation. I don't even know where I lost you at. What? No, just right at the beginning. Just
I'm still figuring out 6 and 7.
6 and 7 what?
Episode.
Wow.
I'm still like, are we really on 7? Wait, what happened on 7? This is what happens when we watch and don't record.
Immediately, yeah.
Which we talked about that. We're gonna fix that, yeah, because
we need to develop a better system. That's for sure.
That's what we're gonna be doing.
Alrighty.
So, so this is all about the VIPs and the new game. They have a new game, and the VIPs are coming to watch.
Yeah.
And the new game is that a kid's game? What? Who's playing that as a kid?
Oh, I ain't nobody played that as a kid.
Okay, this is supposed to be kids' game.
Yeah, I mean, but the game is real. I mean, it's not even a game, really. It's just really simple. It's either this or that, right?
They didn't even talk about, hey, we played this as a kid, or a flashback of them playing it as a kid.
Yeah.
I'm calling foul.
Oh, dang. Okay, let's go, Alice.
I'm calling foul.
Go ahead and
this whole episode has me a little bit disgusted.
A little disgusted?
Yes.
Man, that's pretty strong words there.
Well, one, I don't think it's a kid's game, unless it's something like hopscotch. Were they trying to do something like hopscotch, where you have to jump on squares, and if you jump on a wrong square, you're out?
I honestly, I didn't feel that was important. I enjoyed the game I enjoyed watching the game so much. These are supposed to be
kids' games. Now they're going to turn it on us? This is not a kid's game.
Okay.
Like I said, unless they're trying to do something like hopscotch.
Yeah. I just thought the game was so simple that it could be a kid's game. And so that's why I gave it a pass. I didn't even think about it.
Nobody's jumping on glass, but I get the concept that they're jumping on a space. And if you jump on the wrong space, you're out.
Yes.
That would be like hopscotch, but they didn't call it that. Did they even call it a name?
They didn't give it, I don't think they gave it a name even, no. Dang, you're just disappointed. Foul.
The way you were disappointed, was it last episode when they were when the captain was talking about equality and being fair? Yeah. That's how I feel right now. I feel like
you don't know how I felt. This
is I feel like I've been cheated.
Really?
Yeah, I want my money back and the money for my popcorn that I spent. Just kidding. I want the money back for my ticket. Yeah, I feel like maybe that's how you felt with, the last time when you were talking about this game is not fair.
Yeah.
And those weren't the rules. And so I'm kind of like, wait, the rules are this is a kid's game. That's not a kid's game.
Golly, the things that you get stuck on. I was so not really, I wasn't really into like, oh, they need to shut Squid Game down because they didn't do gender equality the way that they should have did. Like, right, and thought about it. I was just pondering it from a sociological perspective and just going like, okay, these games are not fair because they're gendered, but that doesn't mean that I was like, oh my goodness, I wasn't like, I didn't do cry foul on that one. I think I cried foul on something else in that space. But
yeah, that threw me off. I was like, no.
Yeah.
What kid game is this?
Wow. I mean, man, she is standing her ground here, folks. Like, I'm just like, yo, I'm so past it because I'm sorry. I just enjoyed it so much. It's kind of like, it's kind of like you can be like, it's like you can be rude or politically incorrect as long as you're really funny. Like if you really pull off the funny, then it's like, ooh, hey, you know what? But they were funny. And so this game, okay, it wasn't technically a kid's game, but man, it was so good. I really enjoyed it.
Plus, I don't like heights. I would never.
So this is really personal. This is really about you. This really has nothing to do with the game.
I'm sure.
I'm wondering why you didn't feel similar to in the what you call it, the tug of war, because the tug of war was up top, was high too.
Yes, but if you had to jump on glass and see down, like, no, that's where I would have said no. Just do me and I'm out.
Well, at least you could help the next contestant though, and take a step. Oh, because you're gonna get killed anyway.
No, I can't. I'm afraid of heights. You know how bad. So this is how much I'm afraid of heights. I don't fly. When we go to a hotel and we're like on our high floor, the kids have to stay like a foot away from the window because I freak out. I'm like, no, we'll leave. You touch that window, we leave. And I
confirmed, folks. Yeah. No lies detected.
Yeah. And then also like the Grand Canyon, you know how they made that glass walkway that goes out into the Grand Canyon?
I didn't know that.
You didn't know they have that?
Okay, so I don't know why. I don't.
They have
I don't keep track of the Grand Canyon.
The Grand Canyon. I need to know these things because if we ever go anywhere, like I need to know my safe space.
Okay.
I need to know there's.
And you would never be able to walk on top of the glass bridge.
It goes out into the Grand Canyon.
That's super dope.
Yeah, I know.
I'm definitely doing that if we go.
No, I can't. I wouldn't do that.
You're gonna have to walk away and let me and the kids.
No, the kids can't go because I have to watch them.
We have to. No. If we're going, as a matter of fact, you just made going to the Grand Canyon just that much more enticing to me. Because going there to camp, because that's what you normally say that you want to do. You want to go and camp there. That's like
I can't do it.
Camping. That's not this dude's. I'm not that dude. But
look, and then
to go walk across a glass bridge or whatever.
You're crazy.
That's it. That's the business right there. I'll do it.
No,
I'll do it.
That's why we probably won't go to the Grand Canyon because I know it's there. And I know one of the kids are going to be like, let's go. Not Carter, because Carter doesn't like heights either. He doesn't like crowds.
It'll be me and Alana. Yeah, Alana and I. We'll do it. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm going to do everything I can to prevent us from going to the Grand Canyon.
We are never going to go to the Grand Canyon. Like, I don't know how we got here. How did we get here? Oh, glass.
I wouldn't jump
heights.
On it. I wouldn't jump on it because I might actually jump too much.
Yeah.
And fall over myself.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a step that they're supposed to take there. That's for sure.
I can't.
It's a little bit.
And you're that high. like I've heard these sayings where like when you're up high, like the wind has arms. Like there's like this saying.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's a scientific explanation for that.
Oh, there is? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
why.
Yeah. And so it's like it's something about
The air.
it's something about the air going through and it creates like a vacuum.
Oh, that's
And so the
why.
air leaving the space creates a vacuum and that pulls you. That pulls you
Yeah.
in.
So I would, yeah.
But the glass though, that sounds great.
No, yeah.
Yo, you know what? Look, we started off with, like, we basically jumped to the end on this one. I want to spend a little bit more time on 212 right now. Like,
Oh my God.
I
Okay,
loved
okay.
how she
So
was going in on what's
so
the
let's
name?
so
Duction?
Duxu.
Duxu.
Okay, so
Yeah.
she's the woman. She was the last one out, the last one standing.
Yep.
And she
The
was
weakest link.
the weakest link, and she was
Goodbye.
dying because nobody wanted to pick her, right? And so they
Mhm.
took her away.
And we said last episode, there's no gunshot.
Yeah.
And so
And
we
so
were
there's-
wondering what was going to happen.
And so she was back in the warehouse
She
waiting
was
for
back
them.
in there.
Which just
chilling.
makes sense, right? How awesome, man. Oh, that would have been
I
great.
thought that was amazing.
That would have
I
been
thought
me.
that was an
That would have been
amazing
me
twist.
because I wouldn't have. Wait, did she know what game? She
They
doesn't know what
did
game.
not know what game it was.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. And so go ahead, talk about it. You said you wanted to talk about
Oh,
it.
I'm just saying. It's like I just
She
love
went
the
in.
way that she was just going in. What is the name? I keep on
Duxu.
forgetting the gangster. That's what I keep on wanting to say. The
Duxu.
gangster dude. It's just, man, it was just so poetic, right? It's like because I was wondering how she was going to make it to. I don't want to say the end, right? But I was wondering how she was going to make it as far as she did. And this let her get into that, take another step that she didn't have to take. And man, I just really liked it. I really liked what happened, the dynamic. And here's these dudes that just, here's all these folks that just got finished. We literally just cut the whole party down in half, right? Whoever is left and just cut it down in half. And so for her to not have, the psychological part of just thinking she didn't have to go through all of that.
Oh,
man, all of it was like, oh,
that was good.
That was really good. I'm still just kind of like washing over that. I'm like, you know what? As annoying as she was, it was all worth it to see her there, going like, and y'all didn't pick me because I'm the weakest link. And here I am.
And here she is.
Done. Oh my goodness, that was great.
Okay, so we see a scene in the captain's room. He knows the cop is there. Because something with the phone, right? The way he always...
and so it's like, remember we were talking about like old school phones, like these landlines. It was like, are the young people today, do they even know what these things are?
No, because our kids didn't. I had to tell them about a payphone.
Oh yeah,
I'm like,
we
always had to have like 20 cents and 2 dimes or something, right?
2 dimes and a nickel.
You always had
like
to
a
have
quarter,
depending, because they would raise the prices, but you always have to have change in case you needed to use the phone to call.
And they're like, what? And it's like, they didn't have cell phone. No, they didn't have.
They used to have. We tell them there was phones everywhere. Everywhere you go, there would be a phone.
Yep.
Like bathrooms, because we might have. Yeah, you don't see that anymore.
You do not see that anymore.
All
they are things to get vandalized.
Now you see chargers for people to charge their phones. Like we went to like an amusement park, and they had a whole station to charge. People are standing around charging their phones.
Yeah, and I remember that the state of California, we spent millions and millions and millions of dollars of putting emergency phones along the highway. Yeah, I think I'm sure they're still there. There's no reason to really get rid of them. But think about it. Literally, those things are just relics, right? Like literally, they're just relics of the past. Like, yeah, it's like honestly, looking at one of those things is like looking at a museum. It's like it's like looking at an art exhibit in a museum. It's like, man, that is so old. Why would you need to even do that?
Why would you have a phone on the highway?
Yeah. And so how do we get the phones?
I don't know. Oh, I know. So the captain.
Oh, it was because the way that he puts the receiver down, he must put it down with like the wire going to the right.
So he put it down.
And so the police officer put it to the wire going to the left. He was like, I already know somebody's
in here. So he's looking for him. So he's in his room, he's looking for him, and then back at the warehouse, they have a dinner of a boiled potato.
Yes.
We've talked about
You're,
boiled
you're, you're,
potatoes
you're so.
before. We've talked about another
It wasn't a
episode.
boiled potato, but it was a
boiled-
yam. No, it
No,
was a
it
yam.
was a boiled potato.
I thought no.
It was a
Oh.
boiled potato.
What drama was it?
It was It's Okay to Not Be Okay. The mom brings the guy like a bunch of boiled potatoes, and we talked about like who just eats a bunch of boiled potatoes. But I love potatoes.
Yeah.
And I've learned that potatoes have almost all the nutrients you need to survive.
The potatoes are amazing.
But like the kids nowadays don't eat potatoes, like baked potato.
Like actual potatoes, yeah.
They'll eat a
Versus,
French fry.
yeah, they'll eat fries, and after that,
but it's weird for them if you it's almost weird for them. But I'm like, they're so good. You could just eat it, or like a sweet potato too.
Mm-hmm.
You could just eat a sweet potato.
Yeah.
So yummy. If you have a good one, if you have a good potato, like not a russet.
Dang, just disrespect russet potatoes like that.
Russet potatoes have their place. But if you have like a Yukon Gold or something, I mean, you could just eat it. It's so buttery.
Okay. They ate potatoes.
They could just yes. Okay.
Okay.
You know, there's something about just eating a potato or a sweet potato. Also, like when we watched Ip Man. Remember, he was working in the coal
and he
yard.
Was eating that sweet potato.
And they just gave him a sweet potato.
Yeah.
And then, like when I watch old movies, and there's somewhere back east where it's like snowing and cold, like they'll roast sweet potatoes, and you could just buy a sweet potato and eat it, and they're so good.
Yes.
We could totally do that.
Could totally do that.
And they're cheap. And you can grow.
See that? I knew it. I knew it was coming to that. It's like it's cheap. You can save money. You can save money.
And you can grow them so easily.
That is true.
I just dug up like 20 sweet potatoes. I grew a slip off a sweet potato. That's what it's called, a slip. Okay. And then you grow roots from it, and you stick it in the ground, and I just dug up like 20 sweet potatoes.
Amazing.
We're having those for dinner.
Okay.
Okay. You know what? Stuff like that, I just geek out on.
I know. Look, y'all should see Alice's like garden and the trees, and yeah, Alice is all about that. So I don't know how we got to
I just planted like a dozen trees.
Yeah. I don't know how we got there from just a potato, but you are fired up about these potatoes. So you do your thing, love.
And they're so easy to grow. I'm telling you.
They're so easy to grow.
It's just, and then when you go dig them up, it's like Easter. I mean, it's like, you're like,
it's like an Easter egg hunt.
Yeah.
Man.
For adults, it's exciting. It's exciting. If you have.
Are y'all feeling the excitement right now? Because.
If we have to talk about potatoes again on another episode, we will.
Of course, my love. Absolutely.
I should post on Instagram all my sweet potatoes I just dug up.
You should. That'd be great.
If you're not on our Instagram, go to at Talk Key Dramas.
Yes.
Check our Instagram out.
Okay. Or visit the website.
So 212 flips off the duck sue while they're eating.
Yes.
She flips them off.
I love it. I'm telling you, I just love it. I love it.
Okay. And then so our guy 456, he's feeling bad because the old man died. So his friend,
for sure, yeah.
Is it 218? His friend is telling him, don't worry, he was an old man. And then he points over to the other contestant, the man, 69. He's like, well, his wife died.
Yeah. Like he partnered with his wife. Yeah. It's like, basically, he was like, imagine being that dude. That dude, I told you, right? It's like, I was like, I'm pretty sure I saw the wife.
And you were right. Yeah. Last episode, we weren't sure.
Yeah. And so that dude, yeah. And Alice is crying. I'm not even kidding, folks. Like for real. This actually happened. Later on, Alice, like, because she got all emotional about who's supposed to survive this game. Right. So if you didn't listen to last episode, that's your fault. Last episode, Alice got all teary-eyed about like which one of us would survive the game if, right? And she got all teary-eyed. And then, but that's on the episode. But then later on, like I think it was a day later, maybe 2 days later, she literally is like in the kitchen, like, so Bruce, you're the one that got she got all emotional again. It was amazing. I mean, I'm sorry. I know that it's probably still a sticking point with you, but for real. I
was crying all day.
She was crying.
I was crying all day because I had to settle it in my heart, in my mind. that
if we were ever in Squid Game,
I have to
I
go.
will be the one that will survive.
Yeah, I kept thinking about it and I was like, here we're going to talk about it again. Let's move on.
Okay.
But yeah, we made a pact. I'm going to put it in writing. We're going to put it in our trust.
Okay.
So that, the kids, so they don't get all uptight.
We're going to put this on our do not resuscitate. We're going to put this on our DNR, right? Also.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do not resuscitate. And Bruce is the one that lives during Squid Game.
You just can't get married again. That'll be lit in a little.
Please. Not that I'll be in a rush to get married, but for real. Anyway, don't be trying to control my life.
Can you just go with it? Because I might have to change those papers.
Anyway, all right, let's go. VIPs coming.
I will come back to haunt you.
That truer words have never been spoken.
Okay.
VIPs.
This is why this game upset me so much.
Okay.
Because the whole VIP thing, I just keep thinking how we use people for entertainment. The people that what's that saying? What's that saying? Something or the devil's playground. Idle hands.
Idle hands are the devil's playground.
Yeah, you have these wealthy people that have too much time on their hands and too much money, and they take advantage of the less fortunate for their entertainment. That may be where that book comes in. I'm getting more interested in that book that we saw a couple episodes back, The Theory of Desire. I'm starting to wonder about that book.
Right.
Because you have these wealthy people who have too much time on their hands, and they probably funded this whole operation to take advantage of people for their own entertainment, just to be entertained.
Right.
And I'm having a really hard time with that.
I feel you.
I think you too much time on your hands.
Well, and they're sociopaths.
Yeah, you have to be a little bit crazy.
They have
too.
Zero. No, being a sociopath doesn't mean that you're crazy. It just means that you have zero empathy for people, right? For just like regular everyday people. So, and this is another commentary of capitalism. And we see it. There's other things that we see about this. And again, don't get yourself all twisted up in regards to me critiquing or being against capitalism. It's just a critique, right? The critique in sociological spaces is to say that capitalism produces in us, right? It's like, because if we try to keep on moving up, that it creates a disconnect between the rich and the poor, and there's like less and less empathy, right? And so people become objects, and objects you can do anything with an object.
And that's what's happening right here.
Yeah. And so that was something that when I was watching that, I was just like, yo, like this all of these folks really have zero empathy, right? It's like, and remember, I don't know, it's like we talked about it with Dexter. It's like, well, not we talked about it, but on Dexter they talked about how like the top, and this is actually scientifically like demonstrated, that the top people in like Fortune 500 companies, like the really wealthy companies and stuff like that they are sociopaths. A lot of them, not all of them clearly, but a lot of them are sociopaths.
Yeah.
Because look, the higher you go, the less empathy you need to have in order to keep on making money.
To get there. Yeah.
Right. To get there and to keep making money. Right. Because there's a lot of decisions that get made in those spaces that are not necessarily humane. But anyway, the thing that I thought, it's like I'm going on this roll because I have another one. And that is, I have this thing about, okay, how do you demonstrate wealth? Images of how do you demonstrate wealth? And so I was intrigued. I'm telling you right now, I was waiting when they said VIP. I'm like, okay, who's going to come walking through this door? What are the races of the people that are going to come walking through this door? That's what I was thinking of. I was thinking of that the whole time. And it did not surprise me one bit to see that out of the 6 VIPs, 5 of them were white. I would just say that 5 of them were white dudes, right? And then there was one Asian dude.
Yeah.
And so if that means anything to anyone in regards to like the mask and everything, but the reason why I'm saying this, and it is what it is, but it's like accents and stuff like that. And so there were like at least two, if not three, quote American accents in that space. And then there was a European accent. I think it was a German accent, and then there was quote an Asian accent. And so people can be as mad about that as they want in regards to that, but that is how I identified it. And I'm just like, yo, so there's no black wealthy people. That's what I was thinking. You tell me Jay-Z, Beyonce ain't gonna go to this bad boy. I know that's silly because they wouldn't. I would think that they wouldn't, and yet at the same time, I can't help but to think, right? Well, in my head, I'm like, well, how do you demonstrate this uber wealthy class? And how do you visually demonstrate it? And they did it their way. And that's something that I've critiqued in other episodes, especially Boys Over Flowers. Is like, here they go to those islands, and it's like, well, how do you demonstrate wealthy people? And then it's like these random white folks, white girls just popping up out of nowhere. And it's like, why are they here? Oh, this is supposed to be a wealthy island. Oh, this fits the imagery that you already have because brown skinned people, they're the poor people, or they're the natives, and they're the hotel workers, right? And so all of these things, regardless of whether we're happy about it or not, regardless of what I think as a sociologist, that's part of the social imagery, right? That people have to do, that people know about, the director must know about in order for them to make this thing socially, culturally legible.
That's an interesting topic. Like it goes a little deeper.
I just hurt your brain, didn't I?
Yeah, a little bit. Not just a little bit, but it's just so interesting. And I almost can't wrap my head around it, because you have, like, when you're filming, you have the writer who wrote it.
Yes.
And they wrote it. They take care to write what person they're going to put in there.
Yes.
What image they see, or what image they're trying to get.
Yes.
Because, if, my kids do background work in Hollywood, nothing special. We're just in the background, but right. We've seen it where they, you get a director and they come in and they pick somebody.
Yeah.
Alana, a lot of times, and I think because the way she looks, maybe multiracial, you're not quite sure.
The term is racially ambiguous.
She's been put, close to the camera a lot of times.
Yeah.
Like they'll pull somebody out and then they see her and they put her there.
Yeah.
And me too.
Right.
They pulled me out of, because we talked about it a couple episodes back. They used me as an extra. And
all I remember was the song that you sang. But anyway.
I'm so embarrassed.
Y'all need to go back to that. Which episode was that? I think it was episode 2. Anyway, y'all.
You know what? I had to do that. I sang and I can't sing.
Anyway, so they pulled you out of spaces.
They put me.
They put you into it.
I was right on camera, and I couldn't help but to think about that. And to think about the 2 girls that they put next to me.
Yeah.
That were multiracial.
And what happens, what we know scientifically, if you would, is that people, when they see someone ambiguous, what they do is they fill it in with themselves, like what they know, what their understanding is. And so a lot of times when someone's racially ambiguous, like Alana, if depending on who's looking at her, if you're white, you'll see Alana as like white. If you're Hispanic, you'll see Alana as Hispanic. If you're Asian, you see Alana as Asian. It's like there's so, because there's just these hints all over the place of these various ethnicities and whatnot. Not that you can tell ethnicities that way, but that's what we've been socialized to believe. And so
it's whatever they think, whatever they see.
It literally, like I said, it literally, who you are as a person and what you've been socialized to will color the way, no pun intended, the way that you see racially ambiguous folks. And so that's why, like, the world has kind of moved, the TV media has kind of moved to these racially ambiguous lead characters, because more people will identify with them. There's actually been some writing about that, especially in video games. The place where you'll see it a lot is in video games. But also, and so like they'll have these racially ambiguous characters, because then people, like, they see themselves in it, even though they can still see themselves in it in some way, shape, or form. but yeah, and so, or like Keanu Reeves, right? Keanu Reeves, although I think he's Pacific, like white and Pacific Islander or something like that. But since he's racially ambiguous,
Interesting.
like those kind of characters are becoming more, they're becoming more prominent, especially with, I hate to say it, but it's very sociological to say, especially if you're mixed with white. If you're mixed with white, that goes a lot further on the camera than if you're mixed with black. Period. Point blank. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. That's where my research. That's where my dissertation. I wrote in my dissertation space. Not necessarily on the camera, but talking about being multiracial white privilege. And y'all can be as mad about that as you want. I wrote my dissertation on it. So just saying.
It is. It's interesting. No,
Yeah.
I was interesting to see who were these VIPs, especially the whole, throughout the episode, he's talking English
Yeah.
on the phone,
right,
to these people.
I know, right? Yeah, exactly. It's like, I didn't want to make too many assumptions with him speaking English, but then everybody came, all these folks came in and they were speaking English. And then, like I said, at least two of them had quote,
like
American
the
accents.
top wealthy people, it's very small percentage, and are most of them white?
Oh, vastly. Yeah. I get it. It's representative.
Yeah.
And yet at the same time, just saying, it's like we live in a day and age where you will switch out, where you made Denzel Washington the equalizer. And that was, so just in case you didn't know, we're watching the current Equalizer with Queen Latifah. Just saying. It's amazing. We love this show. Okay. But the original Equalizer was an old white dude.
What about Hamilton?
Then Hamilton, well, I don't know. So you say something about Hamilton. I don't know anything about Hamilton.
Well, the writer is Puerto Rican.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we went to watch the play, there was only one white person.
Yeah, a lot of people of color in the space. I know, and some of y'all would be like, "How could you not know anything about Hamilton?" Because I don't roll like that. That's why.
You would love it. You would like,
I'm sure I would have. I'm sure I would have, but
I was sitting there.
I didn't get a ticket.
I was sitting there thinking, because all these kids now are watching, and they're all like, I was reading some articles, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, I'm gonna watch more plays now because this was so good." Because they're rapping and
yeah.
And
spoken
stuff.
word poetry.
Yeah.
There's a lot of.
But I'm like, okay, do all these kids know that some of
this is not how this was?
I know. Is that okay? Like, it took me a little bit to kind of wonder.
It took you days. I remember you coming home and like being like kind of twisted up for like a day or two. Like for real, you were like, "Yo, are we doing a disservice to our kids by representing, by doing this historical piece with people who wouldn't be in those spaces?"
Like,
I get it.
Hamilton will probably turn over in his grave if he knew there was a African American portraying him. I don't know. It was just I don't know.
Hamilton in his grave is going to have to get over it. Just saying.
But I mean, but they're like, it's a story to be told. Yeah, but the story, that's not the story.
Well, it's
because what we see
has a lot
to do with the story.
Yeah.
So I don't know yet if I was okay with that.
Yeah. Our researchers in communications tell us that over 90% of what we communicate to folks is nonverbal. And so there is a story to be told, but if it's just written, that's only 10%. Right? That's less than 10% of what is going to be told. The rest of what's going to be told is going to be visually and audio, right? Like what you're going to see, what you're going to hear. Those are going to also be the things that you communicate.
This wouldn't be so popular, this Hamilton story.
It wouldn't be so different, that's for sure.
Okay, let's move on.
We definitely went on.
This is how Bruce and I always talk about stuff like this.
I'm glad that your head, normally your head explodes, like your mind just kind of melts down after I do this, but you're doing okay right now.
I'm doing okay right now. Okay. Well, our husband doesn't survive. He takes his life.
He commits suicide.
He couldn't.
He hangs himself.
He hangs it. And then you see one of the VIPs. You see one of the VIPs. Remember when he comes in the room, he's like, "No, I had money on you."
Yep, I had money on him. All because of his number.
He wanted to quit. Remember, he was trying to get everybody to quit.
Yeah.
I mean, but at that point,
I know
they're like, we come way too far.
Yeah.
But then I thought, what I was thinking? Sorry, I keep interrupting you. I was thinking, yeah, it's good for him to quit because he's going to get some money. because his wife, that's probably why he's probably like, listen, if we all quit, I'm still gonna get money.
That's deep. That is sinister. I like
That's
it.
what I was thinking. I would have at least tried.
I like it. I like it. That's good. That's good thinking. That's good thinking right there. Yeah, I was gonna say something, but I forgot. So keep going. Maybe it'll come back to me.
Well, the VIP, the cop.
Yes.
He trades masks with one of the servers so that he can go into.
Yep. So he can get closer to the whole operation.
Yeah. What do you think about that whole setup in the VIP room? They had all the, they had women there painted.
Yeah, all lavish. Everything.
And they had their masks.
It made sense. That was what I was expecting to see.
Something very, you're right, very lavish. Like
that. It's like I've seen in other movies. Yeah, go ahead.
They saw it on film though. They weren't right in the room where this was happening.
Right? Correct. Yeah, it's not like they were, but I mean, it was like a stadium, right? It's like, and so in some way, shape, or form, it just felt more like
they were there. It was a party.
Game.
Yeah, they were celebrating kind of.
Yeah. And they were probably getting some back, some other information going on. So I'm sure it was. I mean, clearly it was worth it for them. So you shouldn't trip out about how mega wealthy people spend their money.
Yeah. So the game starts.
No, well, no.
What?
I mean, hopefully you're going to talk about the VIP. I think we should just close this part out and just say one of the VIPs takes a liking to Officer Chang. Yeah. That's where my second sentence comes in to say he gave him the VIP treatment. And no, you didn't like that. That's why you wanted to see. You see that face? I got to deal with that face all the time. She must have been disappointed. Not necessary.
Just felt like not necessary. It felt yucky.
Okay.
It made me feel yucky.
I mean, well, that was it. That was. See, now I'll tell you what. See, the way that you feel, that is exactly how you were supposed to feel when you watched it. And so, therefore, whenever I feel that, whenever I feel like, I'm like, man, the director did a good job.
Yeah.
They did a good job because that was exactly how they were trying to do that. But of course, Officer Chang flipped the script and then got that dude to start assumedly to spill his guts.
Yes.
In regards to give me everything that you know about this Squid Game. And so I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to seeing how that unfolds in the future. But the game starts.
Yeah. But we kind of talked about it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean,
What?
The gangster, man.
Oh my God.
The gangster.
The hardest ones are always the softest ones. Not soft, they are always the.
Well, the idea, right, is that bullies are actually, very insecure.
Yeah.
That's why they have to act out the way that they do.
Yeah. And so we see it here.
Yeah.
They're not tough. They really aren't tough.
Yeah. And it's like they expect all these other folks to take these life and death decisions, but not them. And so I was at that scene was again, it's like as annoying as 212 is.
Oh yeah, let's talk about them. How they end up.
212 is right behind the gangster, and
I was wondering how was she going to do it to get rid of him?
Yep.
And because she said she was going to kill him.
Oh yeah.
How was she going to get rid of him and survive?
Exactly. Man, that was.
I thought she was going to push him.
Again, another reward. Well, she's not strong enough to push
him. She's too little.
The way that it happened was the way it had to happen. That is for sure.
So she just took him. She's like, if I'm going down, we both are going to go down. And he wouldn't go.
Oh yeah, he was not going to go. He was like, you can go past me, but you ain't going. I'm not taking another step.
He was just going to stand there till the end. He couldn't.
Yep.
He couldn't do it.
And so the only person that could take him out was her, and she did. She took him out. Yes. I'm saying. That's why a woman scorned. Right? A woman scorned. Just saying. Just putting that out there to the universe. But yeah, this thing wraps up.
So there's that one little thing. They give him a hint. Why did they give him a hint? Who got a hint? There was a hint.
I don't think there was a hint. There was a guy, the
it was
fourth to last person. He
No, no,
was
no.
actually a glass worker.
Yes, but I think it was the VIPs, they gave them a hint or something. Remember, they wanted to know. I can't remember. They wanted to know something. There was a hint given. No,
I don't
maybe
know
it'll
what
come
you
to
I
us.
don't know what you mean by hint.
Okay,
Okay.
it's okay. Um, you are right. So there was one of the contestants. He used to work with glass.
For like 20 years or something like that.
I was wondering if there was a way to tell tempered glass with regular glass, because tempered glass is like what they put in like a bedroom. Like when you have windows in your bedroom, I think by law, you have some of them have to be tempered glass so they don't shatter.
Okay.
And I think maybe the same thing with your eyeglasses.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes it stronger, something like that.
Okay.
So you're right. So I was wondering if there's a way for you to tell.
Yep. And he said, yes, something about the light how the light reflects off. And then the confirmation for that, right? Because I think he got like 3 of them correct in a row.
Yeah.
Which if you're going for the odds on that one, that's a 1 out of 8 chance. Okay. I believe so. 2 to the 3rd power. It's 1 out of 8 chance. And so he got to that point, and it's like, but see, it's significant because then the VIPs were kind of like, oh, so this is not accidental, right? It's like he was able to see it 3 times in a row. And so it was like, okay, so he's not just getting lucky. Not that 1 out of 8 is going to be, crazy statistical or whatever, yeah. Right? But yeah, it was like, okay, this is past coincidence for them, and so they took the light out of the room.
So what do you think about that? Is that kind of cheating? Like, I don't know if that was fair for them to dim the lights so they couldn't do that, so they couldn't see.
Well, this whole one again is kind of like, this one, although it's not equal, right? But the thing is that it's like, well, I didn't tell you which number to choose, right? It's like what order for you. It's like they didn't know what order. They just picked their number randomly. And I'm going to tell you what, just on the record, I was going to pick 16 because that's my birthday. And so just saying, in this game, 3. I was going to be in an advantage space.
3.
Yeah, you would have been gone. You would have stepped off into the glass.
Oh, I wouldn't have even gone.
You know what? That's right. So we're not even worried about this for Alice. But anyway, and so although it was not fair, but the idea was that, okay, they have a 50-50 chance, a 50-50 every single time, 50-50, right? And so then to have the light took away the 50-50 chance. And so, I mean, I don't know if I felt like that was unfair to take away the light. Oh. It's just they wanted it to just get back down to this 50-50 chance.
I see what you're saying.
And so, knowing something to influence the 50-50 chance,
you're right,
honestly, is the unfair part.
Yeah.
Right. And then,
yes, you're right.
But he had another way, and he tried to do that marble, yes, which I thought was like genius, how they just kind of had it with them,
yeah,
and everything. But he didn't have 2 marbles. He needed 2 marbles
to get, yes,
to figure it out, because he had to hear the sound on both of them.
On both of them. To know the difference.
Yeah, to know the difference. And so, yeah. And so then Sang-woo, the friend, he finally shows his true colors to everyone. But we already knew this from the last game, because he got Ali murked.
218.
Right? 218. He shows his true colors, and he pushes them because he's trying to survive this game.
He is.
He is trying to survive this game.
We still haven't really heard his story. I
mean, it's just one of greed.
No, is it? I just keep thinking, like, well, what happened that made him turn?
Well, what probably happened was that he figured.
Really know, right?
Was that, well? What we know is that he embezzled.
We know what he did.
Yes.
But was there a reason why he had to do it, or was it pure greed?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Well,
see, when Alice does that to me, I've learned how to not answer that question from what I know or from what I feel, because what you want is the director. You literally, at moments like this, you want the director to come out themselves and go, hey, this is the reason why Sang-woo did what they did. And then you'll go, okay. And we'll just move past it. But any speculation, you're just like, no matter what it is.
Is that how I look? Well, our girl 67 made it.
Yes.
So there's 3
There are
survivors.
3. Thing is, look, so this is wrapping it up. And so
We got 2 episodes left.
We have 2 episodes left. And the next one's short. It's like a half hour long. And so we might do the next 2 together. That might actually be even something to
I heard
to
there's like a
entertain.
little twist or something, or what I've heard people talk about it, they're just like, oh my gosh.
You get to the end and it's a big deal.
I
And
hope
so
it's something we just unexpected.
yeah. And so the thing that I'm wondering about is that how badly was she hurt? Because that glass was exploding. 67.
Oh, you're
That
right.
glass was exploding all over the place, right? And they were showing in the slow motion, right? Matrix form, they were showing all these cuts coming from this glass. And at the very end, she looks down and says,
she did.
And then
I don't remember.
Goes to black. I know.
She didn't make it.
This is why I made the big bucks. I don't know if she's mortally wounded. All I know is that normally means I got cut deep.
Okay, they're wearing pants. They don't have shoes.
But of a big shard of glass, because remember, they shot up all the glasses. So like I said, they did that for a reason. They did that to say all this glass is flying. Well, what do you think might happen? And so I'm thinking that she got stabbed by a bigger shard of glass. That's what, like I said, whether she's mortally wounded or not, we'll see. But just saying, that's what I'm thinking.
And our cop escapes underwater. Can he survive that water? Can he survive the?
He had a thing. He had scuba gear.
Yeah, but that lasts for him to swim to where he needs to go. We don't know where the island is.
Well, we'll see.
Kind of reminds me of Alcatraz. They say nobody ever survived those waters. It's cold.
We'll see. That's one of those things I'm like, you know what? I don't want to see it.
There's so much we need to know. His brother. I don't know. Remember when the captain looked at his picture? When they found that other body in the water that came.
I told you,
and he looked at the picture a little.
I already told you. I called my shot from the beginning, or from like in the middle.
Didn't he look at it like
he looked at it a little? He looked at it quite a long time. I'm just saying. I think his brother inserted himself into the game.
Why would his brother be the captain? Well, the captain's nobody. He's just another worker.
He's just another worker
for the VIPs. Well, if he was a winner, they could have asked him, like, we need somebody.
Are you willing to do this?
And so what's going to happen is the cop's going to have to be face to face with his brother. Going to have to decide.
All this is speculation, of course. We have no idea. But if I was writing in a plot twist, it's that.
Something like that.
It has to be something like that, of that magnitude. It has to be something of that magnitude. There's nothing else that would surprise us more.
And it's going to be sad
for his brother than for the officer's brother to be the front man.
And he's
there was nothing else that would surprise us more.
And it's going to be sad because he loves his brother. It sounds like he loves his brother, and
he gave up a kidney for him.
And didn't he also talk to his mother? Wasn't he also talking to the mother? Like, I'm going to find him, or
yes.
And then he's going to be responsible.
Yeah. Just nothing would surprise us more. That's exactly what I called on LA's Finest. Alice and I were watching that. And I'm like, man, it's going to be heartbreaking when we find out that the boyfriend is the main dude. And I was like, I kid you not, Alice just looked at me like, what? No, there's no hint of that. Then guess what?
Okay.
I'm just saying, it's like when it comes to writing, if you're trying to surprise people who are not thinking, if you're trying to surprise people that are not thinking about it as deeply as we are, because quite honestly, when you're binge watching it, because we would easily have just binge watched this thing and just boom, 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 and not have thought about it at all, and then get to the end and go like, oh, right? But since we're taking this one episode at a time, and then we're recording and we're thinking, and sometimes, I mean, this week we almost took 2 weeks, or not 2 weeks, almost a week to record this episode after watching it. So it's like, look, we have plenty of time to think. Just saying. And so what would be most surprising? His brother behind that mask.
Yeah. Okay, let us know what you think. You can go to our Instagram. You can send us.
That's
an
not a
email.
spoiler. It's just we guessed.
We're just guessing.
We're just guessing.
Okay. This was Talk K-Dramas with Bruce and Alice.
All right.
See you next time.
All right. Bye.
Bye.